Yo, good morning, my people. Good morning, top of the morning, my people. Peace and blessings. It is Thursday, May 22nd, and I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ because with him all things is possible. This No Duck Zone episode is sponsored by Vision Sports Management. Follow my brother John Boy Belton, Facebook and Instagram. Again, John Boy Belton. Follow him on Instagram and Facebook. Shout outs to the sponsors. Top of the morning to all my kings and queens. Everybody moving out there, going to school, going to work, coming from work, um, court, wherever you're going, wherever you need to be, wherever you're coming from, please arrive there safe. I hope everybody's feeling thankful, appreciate it, and blessed for seeing another day. Oh, yes, y'all. Thursday, man. This weather, once again, is nasty out here, y'all. Nasty. When I mean disgusting, yo, this weather is like, it feels like we're in freaking March and, I don't know, February, October, I don't know. I know May is not the month for summertime, but it's a month where we get excited because we know we're getting close to summer. We got a couple of weeks, but it is what it is. Throwback Thursday boxing talk. We're gonna do it different. We're not different. We're gonna do what we always do. Strictly Throwback Thursday. Today we'll be talking about the late great Salvador Sanchez. As coming back later, we will be talking about the Nigerian nightmare, Samuel Peter. So let's get into it right now. So for my newcomers, my regulars, everyone, welcome to the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go. Crush, you gotta look in your DM. Ha, brother free. I'd have thought you been asleep, man. You was on the live this morning, bro. I thought you would have been asleep.
Nah,
Yeah. Um, I'm waiting for Crush. Well, all right. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait a little bit. I'm tired, man. I thought my brother free been asleep. Seeing y'all the right side of y'all going. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. 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 Okay. All right. Here we go. This damn thing always does that. I got it now. Yeah, seeing y'all going live late, man. I said, man, I thought I was seeing things. I was sitting up watching the Knick game, man, which that pissed me off. Pissed me off, man. We had their asses, man, and they let them come back, man. They let them come back, please.
they were choking like I was.
Don't do that. Don't do that, free. Don't do that. That's crazy. Now you're gonna start this Reggie Miller shit. Don't do that. Damn, yo,
Hey,
don't do that.
I told you they do what they always do. And I don't know why y'all expect the unexpected. You gotta expect what's expected, and when you get the unexpected, then you be surprised.
Man, look, that pissed me off last night. I'm looking like, what are we doing? Like we had it. Now we got to come back tomorrow. We got to get it. We don't get it tomorrow.
Yeah,
We don't get it to
y'all was
we
up
don't
17, and y'all lost by
17.
3. Hey,
Listen, I love Bronson, but sometimes Bronson makes stupid ass moves. Sometimes he makes stupid ass moves.
how bad did you feel knowing that it was a former Knicks player, the one that got the game winner against y'all?
Um, Not surprised because it happens like that a lot. Hey, that's what you get for trading me. Shit, we could have used him. Damn it. But you know what? It's when he got that shot, I was sitting there like I was just probably just as stunned as the people in the crowd because I'm like, did he just make that? Like I was mad. Okay, I got Crush and I got Brother Underrated. Okay, I got two of the most electrifying guys on social media who all like to holler. Because they do like to scream at people. Well, Crush likes to do more of the screaming. Underrated just likes to do more of the taunting people, but it's okay. I'm glad my brothers is here. Um, this is important for me because as much as I should have been doing my homework on Salvador Sanchez, I've heard a lot about him. I want to start with you, Free. Then all my other brothers can come in after. What do you remember, even though at that time you were young, what do you remember about Salvador Sanchez, if you have any memories of him?
Uh, I just remember Sanchez was like a Tasmanian devil. Um, once he figured you out, it was hard to keep him off of you. Like he wasn't a typical Mexican style fighter. He wasn't the one that come with the high guard and come forward. He was more of a boxer, and that was something different to see from a Mexican fighter at that time. Because most Mexican fighter they all took after the legends in their from their country, and that was their style of fighting. They made a come forward fighter famous because that was their style. They put the high guard up and they will come forward. So to see Salvador Sanchez be more of a boxer, it was kind of surprising. It caught a lot of people off guard because you was expecting to see one style of fighting and you saw something totally different. But he was a guy that accomplished a lot in a short period of time, and he captured the attention of the entire boxing industry in a short period of time. And then before you know it, it was all over. That's what I remember from Salvador.
Um, I never read how he passed. How did he pass again?
It was a car accident.
It's car accident, right? Okay, all right. Uh, yeah, man, that was tragic because when you heard his name, and for a lot of people who might have not been familiar with him, it's like you Salvador. I heard this guy's name before. I heard this guy's name, and um, yeah, it's sad before you can even get a chance to accomplish anything. Um, you know, stuff like that happens. It's um, it's sad for the most part. Underrated. What's up, brother? It's sad for the most part.
Go.
That what's going on? The number one
All
grinder.
right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Your families in the chat and in the and on the
Yeah,
panel. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
he's wise understanding says Salvador Sanchez, one of the greats, gone too soon. Um, you underrated. What do you remember? Because you had a little more time to look at him than me and Free, right? Um, what do you remember about Salvador Sanchez?
Very strategic.
Yeah,
Very strategic. All round fighter. Like Brother Free was saying, he's not your typical Mexican fighter. Excellent boxer. Could knock you out with any punch. Very had doable. Uh, didn't duck from anybody. People were saying that he was on the way uh superstar, but he was already superstar. I think he was on his way to icon. I tell you the icon.
Salvador Sanchez.
Yeah. So he was on his way. That's one of my favorite besides Thomas Hurst. He's one of my favorite fighters. Every time I see him, it was always a joy to see him. How boxing is and everything. I'm talking about very smart for his age, very above, maturity and stuff. And
Yeah,
so he can fight anywhere. I mean, he's one of the few fighters that he can fight any style. He can fight. He can fight off his back feet. He can come For he was much more complete fighter. Know to slip punches very well. You know, you could tell that he watched boxing because he know how to like turn his shoulder, how to avoid punches. You know, create off his defense, and he was a joy. I saw he was a joy to watch. So when he passed away in '82, I was 16 at the time. That hurt me. That was hurting me. I heard that when I was on my way going to school.
Mm.
And I heard it. That hurted me. Matter of fact, I can tell you, I cut class that day. And I
Wow.
went and I yeah, I went yeah, I went, I cut I never forget, I cut class and I got the homework for all the classes. I did my homework and I sat down and I cried because that's what he meant to me, you know. I told people, man, you crying. I said, yo, you don't know that Salvador said he was on his way to icon status. And guy like that, and I was like, it was something that even to think about right now, it's like to look back, it's like what could have been, you know, when we talking about icons and stuff. He's right. He was on his way. And that's all I can say. He was on his way. So that day, you know, I was in the park for hours. You know, went to matter of fact, I went to Prospect Park. Cause my high school where it was at, it was like probably like 20 minutes away from
Yeah.
Prospect, about 20, 25 minutes away. So I walked to Prospect Park and I was sat on the bench inside in the Grand Army Plaza and stuff
Yeah.
like that, where the benches is at. And I sat down and I just like, wow, just cried and everything and wiped my tears and stuff. And then after that, I walked home after that and just shook my head. I was like, wow, you know, what could have been. So he was one of those fighters that when you watch him, he brings you joy. He one of those fighters that, oh, this is what boxing is all about, you know. And so, you know, put up this thing on, you know, Mexican professional boxing, WBC ring featherweight championship. You know, every time we talk about the featherweights, we never talk about the late great Salvador Sanchez, and that's a travesty. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean, like me and Free talked about yesterday, and I think it was brought up again how these guys are just so comfortable with talking about today. But we also have to teach history. Now, I'm reading that he was the WBC and the ring featherweight champion from 1980 to 1982.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. Yep. And he
And he
didn't
was
dump nobody.
and he was the featherweight and bantamweight champ 126. And I mean, that's yeah. Whew.
Yeah. As I say,
Yeah.
that's why I say he accomplished a lot in only 5 years. He only fought for 5 years. Like
Right.
That's
it's not
crazy.
like he fought a whole lot of time. That's why a lot of people say it's kind of hard to put him in the category of one of the best Mexican fighters of all time because his career was so short. It was only 5 years long.
Yeah,
But within those 5 years, he accomplished more than a lot of people do in an entire career.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's pretty damn impressive. And him dying at 23 years old is oh man, that was a robbery, man. He had so much to give.
Yeah, yeah, he was taken way too soon. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know what? I hate to say people was taken way too soon because we all are on borrowed time. We don't know what our
Yeah,
length of time on this earth is. Some people live to see 23 years. Some people live to see 60 years, 80 years, 100 years. So we don't know. We say it's too soon because he was still young according to our eyes. But
yeah,
in God's time, that was all the time he was given. That was all the time he was given. So we say
yeah,
way too soon because we look at it with a natural eye, but with a
yeah.
spiritual eye, that was the time that he was given. Everybody is put on this earth for a certain amount of time, and whatever your time is up, your time is up.
Yeah, my sister was put on this earth for 20 years, and that was it. You
Yeah,
know,
my
it's
father was only put on this earth for 34 years. So I'm gonna say
damn.
everybody's time. You don't know when your time is up, and it's not like it's like his. A lot of people say his life was taken too soon because it was a car accident, but that was his designated time to end was through a car accident. Some people is by drowning in a pool. Some people is by natural cause. Some people they just go to sleep and never wake up again. So everybody way of leaving this earth is different. But
I,
like I said, it was written how your life was going to end and how it's going to begin, and that's how his was.
um, I know this is gonna be hard for both of y'all to say. This is it's hard to predict what it would have been. Had he not passed, what do you think he would have went on in his career and did?
Um, Based off of his trajectory, he probably, like I said, he probably would have been the best Mexican fighter of all time, based off of his trajectory. Like I said, within 5 years, he accomplished more than Cesar Chavez has ever accomplished. He accomplished more than Canelo Alvarez ever accomplished. And within that short period of time, the first
Yeah.
5 years of his career, I'm talking about within the first 5 years, he accomplished more than every Mexican that you could think of accomplished within their first 5 years. He accomplished more than all of them. If you look at all the great Mexican fighters of all time that you say is the best Mexican fighter of all time, within the first 5 years, he accomplished more than they have ever accomplished. That man
Um.
was a two-division champion and he was a linear champion within 5 years.
Within 5 years. Yeah, and I say for me is that he was on. I mean, he was on his way to I'm gonna keep on saying this. He was on his way to icon status. I'm saying if he would have been living, if that were not for that car accident, besides one of the great Mexican champion, we would put him up there a boxing icon status. We was like, what could have been if he would have kept on because you know, like I said, when you watch him, he was beyond his years, and like the people like y'all was saying, he did it in five. He accomplished a lot in 5 years. A millennials champion of that age, that's unheard of back then in those times. So, I mean, like right now, we could really celebrate the late great Salvador Sanchez because like the lower class weight class, we would like look for, oh wow, look what he did in the bantamweight. Oh, look he did in the featherweight, But he would have definitely been icon status. He would have been definitely celebrate I say one of the best of boxing period. And so and he would have been like the best Mexican champion ever. Even though that he did not fight like within the Mexican style and stuff like that. So what could have
Um.
been?
At this time when he's around, Chavez is around, right?
Yeah, Chavez was around.
He was around, yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out who's around at this time when he's fighting.
Yeah,
Um.
I mean, at the time, like I said, at the time Chavez was around, but they was looking at Salvador as the best Mexican at that time.
At
It
that
was
time,
after
yeah.
it was after Salvador had passed, they
Pass.
gravitated over to Caesar. But before that, it was Salvador. Salvador was who all of the Mexican was geared towards because he had already accomplished two divisional championships. He was a linear champion. They had all gravitated towards him, and then when he passed, they had to find somebody else to lean on, and Chavez was right there. So they switched their energy over to Chavez. That's why Chavez was so celebrated because they had to find somebody to lean on because Salvador had just passed away.
at this time, not to say it would have happened. Were they in the same weight class or were they above each other? Like
They weren't in
what?
the same weight class. Salvador was much smaller than Cesar was. Cesar Chavez was, I think he was like 2 or 3 weight classes above
Okay,
Salvador.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
yeah,
Salvador most of his career was for the bangweight, and featherweight.
Yeah,
okay. Oh, 23 is sad. Because there's no telling what he, would have went on to be. Especially at the time in the '80s, because even though the smaller weight classes were always looked at, y'all know just as well as I do, it never got the recognition that it needed to get, especially at this time in the '80s where you got Mike Tyson just coming in. So people are paying attention to him. It's a lot of different things that people are paying attention to.
yeah.
Um, how how close did people pay attention to Salvador? Like, did he attract the type of crowd that when people knew he was fighting, you had to be in front of your TV to watch him?
I
You're a
would say
boxing fan. No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
no. I about to say I would say so because at that time you got to remember heavyweight was where everybody gravitated to. They gravitated to heavyweight and welterweight. But at that time, they didn't have nobody in the smaller weight class that they can look to and say, you know what, this dude right here is an animal. And then there was Salvador. Salvador was at that smaller weight class that gave recognition to that smaller weight class. Like they wasn't really paying attention to the smaller weight classes like that because he fought at bantamweight. Like bantamweight is what 115, 118
Yeah,
pounds.
yeah,
150, 118 pounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he fought at a very small weight class that most people didn't pay attention to. They was paying attention to the 147 division and the heavyweight division. I mean, there was other divisions that they looked at, but those were the two main divisions that they were gravitating to. So when Salvador fought, yeah, a lot of people watched him because they never seen a guy that small be so dominant. He was a dominant force when he was in the ring. Like most of his fights, if you go look at his fights, most of his fights didn't last past like 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah.
What separated him from everybody else in the smaller divisions? What made him that damn good? Where everybody was like, you know what? Shit. I don't know if that's the guy I want. I don't know if that's the guy I want next.
Um, his IQ, his
Mm.
IQ, his IQ. He figure you out and get you out of it. His IQ. I mean, one of those fights, they were telling him, dude, he did a fight. He did his. He did it. It's like just like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got, and figured he's like, and that round he knocked him out.
So he basically would tell his corner, like, don't worry, I got it. Don't
I
worry,
got
I got it.
exactly. I know
I
the
got it.
instructions. I know the structures. Yeah,
Yeah.
So I
Which
got. Don't
which
worry
which
about
which that's crazy because it's like usually you got to listen to your corner, but when you like no, listen, I figured him out already. I got it. Watch me go in there and do what I do. I'm gonna get him out of here. I got it. Don't
it.
worry.
One time he did this, and he said,
Yeah, I'm smart. That basically he like don't worry, I got this. That's what, and
"I
that's
just yeah." When he do like
crazy.
this, like this,
Yeah,
and knocked him out.
you know, and I understand what Free's saying. Where it's kind of hard to rate him because it's like he was taken away. So, what I mean? If we were talking about him passing away maybe 10, 15 years later, it would have been easy to put him somewhere and go, yeah, we can rank him at that. But even with him, even with his 5 years, we still have to give him his flowers because he was a bad boy. And
Yeah,
he was doing it at a young age.
and you know what's so sad about Brother McClain, right? When he passed away, right? And I tell you the experience that he had an effect on him, right? They talked about him, he passed away, and they just, and to this day that angers me. Do you know what this man? Do you know what he did in 5 years? They just like, let's go to
Yeah.
the next person. And I didn't like that. I'm like, why
Yeah.
you did that? You know why? I said, the man accomplished a whole lot of that time, and then what could have been. And there was like big fights happening. Never saying like he was dying only. He was only. I want people to understand. Like I want to repeat what you and D3 said. He passed it only. He was 23. He only boxed professionally only 5 years. He accomplished everything every 5 years. Do you know that there are boxers out there that took him almost 10, 11 years to accomplish what he did in 5 years?
Yeah.
And at the same time, he found a lower weight classes that wasn't no money was pumping in that time.
No.
None. There wasn't hardly no money pumping in that time.
No.
And did it on that level internationally. Didn't duck nobody. There are some fighters that he fought that they become great themselves. But against Salvador Sanchez, they didn't do what they need to do. So I'm just saying that I'm talking about people of the media. They just like even people be Mexican. Oh, that's all right. We're gonna bring that Chev back. I'm like, yeah, I understand that he went on to have an outstanding career too. Nothing taken away from him, but come on, Salvador Sanchez, come on. Y'all just like, and then so when he passed away of August 1982, it bothered me because the way how they treated it,
My
like he just there.
my bad, my bad. I made a mistake. It wasn't 5 years. It was 7 years. He started in
It was
'75,
7 years. I thought it
and
was
and he
5.
'75. He ended his career at '82.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, in those 7 years, he had 44 fights, one loss. 32 of those 44 fights came by way of knockout.
Mm. Sheesh. Man. There's a lot going on. I tell you, man. Yeah, you know why this is not spoken about enough underrated? I can't tell you, brother. It's sad. I can tell you, and me and Free talked about it. And not just people like Salvador, just in general. Oh, we have to. This is how we are teaching people. We're learning from you guys. We could have easily did my homework on the situation, but I said, you know what? I had my brothers come up here, and they will enlighten me because Salvador Sanchez was just more than just a name. You understand what I'm saying? I think people pay more attention to just the name, and he was more than just a name. He did a lot in his short time. Rather it be 5 years or 7, but you can't tell these fools that because they already have their mind made up of what's important and who's important.
And
Miss Fields,
also
what's going on, Miss Fields? Good morning, sis.
I'll pull this up because I'm trying to, and this is a travesty. They said, read this out. Um, he was named 24th greatest fighter in the past 80 years by Ring Magazine in 2003. The Ring and rated Sanchez number 88 on the list of 100 greatest punchers of all time. Sanchez was voted as number 3 featherweight of the 20th century of Association Press.
Mm.
Number 3.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
number 3. And
Yeah,
nothing take away the featherweights come after him. Nothing taken away. I'm not saying nothing taken away. But what he did with them 7 years, you'll put number 3.
yeah.
Again, oh, Salvador, you did this, but you know. Salvador Sanchez, you did this, but
Mm-hmm.
a lineage champion before he's 25. Do you know how hard it can be in the lineage for being the lineage champion of any? I'm talking about of any weight class, especially the lower weight class. Do you know how hard it is? and sustained it.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. I don't think they.
Like you know, we talk about these people that have positions of voting and stuff. I want to know where your eyes is at, where your knowledge is at, because three, that's what I'm saying. Remind me back, go back to my experience in '82. I'm like, man, y'all just push them aside. And I'm reading this like, they have to be kidding me, right? Number
Yeah.
three? Oh, y'all got nerve put number three? Yeah. Associate Press, y'all put number three of all time?
Nasty work.
A Lineage champion? Y'all put number three.
Yeah. He was named Fighter of the Year in 1981 with
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard. Him and Sugar Ray Leonard was named Fighter of the Year.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's something major.
He was your size, Clarence. He was 5'7". He was your height.
He looked like he was.
Yeah.
He, he was
Listen,
5'7".
everybody my height can fight. That's the great thing about being my height. You got to know how to
Hey,
fight.
and he was born our month. His birthday was January 26th. Literally, he was
Yeah.
born literally 10 days after I was born. Well, I mean, of
Yes.
course, a few years before me, but he was. He was born in '59. I was born in '76, but his birthday was 10 days after mine. Mine is January 16th. His was January 26th.
Yeah. That's that's amazing. Just his accomplishments in a short amount of time. Um, it's fortunately, at least, some people they need to know the history of this. This is why it's important that we talk about it. Well, it's not just boxing talk. You know what I mean? It's history. It's giving people history. You know,
Like
when we were coming up, we didn't want to hear history, but it is what
just
it is.
just look at his record. The man had 46 fights. He had one loss, one draw, 44 wins, 32 of them by knockout. This man got more fights in 7 years than most guys got right now, and they didn't fought 10 plus years. The only
Man,
person right now that got more fights that I could think of than him is Canelo. That
man,
I
what
can
you
think
say?
of right off the top of my head. Everybody else got that everybody talk about on a regular basis. They've been fighting almost 10 years or close to 10 years, and they don't even have as many fights as he got.
They ain't doing nothing. How about that?
And it wasn't like this dude was fighting a bunch of bums. He was fighting quality guys.
That some of them years after become, I mean, they've been in the Hall of Fame.
One of his best fights of all time was against Wilfred. I mean Gomez.
With Gomez.
Will is it Wilfred Gomez? I keep messing up how they pronounce his first name.
I think it's
W I L
Wilfred.
yeah, Wilfred. He fought him before Sugar Ray Leonard fought him, and he whooped his ass. Whooped his ass. But that was one of his best fights.
Yes, it's crazy, man. It's funny you mentioned that about that. How y'all brag about your favorite fighters, what y'all fighters is doing. Y'all fighters do this, your fighters do that. Half of y'all fighters right now ain't did shit compared to what that man did in his 7 years.
You
And
know somebody else he beat too, that most people probably don't even know who he is or never knew that he fought. He beat Felix Trinidad Sr.
Yeah, Miss Fields, I have to. Because
yeah,
not only I get to learn, Miss Fields, it's like so Miss Fields, how I work is when I bring people up and when I have these conversations, sometimes I'm also getting a lesson. Rather, people feel like you should have known this already. It's hard for you to say what people should have known already. I'd rather be the guy who asks questions to try to learn something than to be the guy who walks around and act like he knows everything.
No,
So when I have D free and underrated, or when I'm talking to people in the chat, sometimes I'm looking for answers that I don't have. So I appreciate that you appreciate what I do. Thank you, Queen.
that man beat Felix Trinidad Sr. to get a shot at the title, and then he beat Danny Little Red
Red
Lopez
Lopez.
for the title.
Yeah, and I think later on, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Danny Lopez later on, years later, he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, and in his own right, Danny Lopez was a pretty good fighter himself.
Well,
Yeah,
what year did he beat Tito's father?
yeah, he beat Tio Farber to get a shot at the title.
What year was that he beat him?
That was in trying
I
to think
swear to
what year.
God, oh said fuck a know it all. Yeah, I don't have time to be a know it all. I'd rather ask questions. So what if you don't?
That was. I'll tell you in 1 second. Hold up.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Was it back in? I think it was back in 1980. You can check
That
it
was
out. Make sure.
79, 1979.
79?
Yep, it beat Phoenix Trinidad
So
Senior 79.
whoa, time out. See, now it's about to get different. He was super young. Because if he was
Yes,
23 when he died, we
Yeah,
talking about him what being 18, 19,
yes.
yeah,
17?
yeah. He was
Yeah.
a teenager.
He was whooping. I mean, he was going around whooping the hell out of grown men.
That's how.
Damn.
That's how great he was. The talented he was.
Look
I'm
at my
talking
man Dream. What's up, Big Dream? Yeah, so
about.
it's unfortunately, yeah. I don't never try to be a know-it-all, man. That's why I be like, I got questions. I need answers, man. You understand? I need answers. That's why I love doing these type of shows. That's why when we come back today, I need y'all to come back again with me today. Every Thursday, well, I can't say every Thursday because I know at some point I'm gonna get busy because my schedule is gonna how my life is set up. I got things I got to get ready to get together. Yeah, that's why these are topics are very important because my question is I'm just thinking how great he would have been if he'd have kept on. And he was only 23 by what was it? What was it? 80? Was it 83?
82.
82.
82.
So 82. So just imagine what he'd have been like in his late 20s. uh, Who knows, coming into his 30s.
Yeah, yeah. He was
Jay
he was
Will.
he was a monster. He was a monster. Like I said,
Oh, okay. Oh, you talking about it's with Fredo Gomez.
The
That's how you
most
talking
talented Mexican fighter I've ever seen, and if not for the tragic passing, probably would have been top 10 of all time. All right, Jay Will. Thanks for coming,
about.
brother.
I mean, if not, no, I don't think he'll be top 10. No.
I'm not gonna debate that because of the way he was moving. He possibly would have been top 10 of all time. I'm gonna say you gotta think about what he did in the 7 years that he fought. I'm
I
not
mean,
I'm not gonna say he wouldn't.
if he'd have had at least 3 more years, we're not saying he would have had to give us 20 years to be top 10. If he would have gave us 3 more years, you know, and we're not gonna say if he would have gave us 3 more years because it wasn't his choice to pass. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he said, I'm gonna get in this car today and y'all, and this is gonna be it. You know, like Free says, we all have a time that we're gonna go, whether if you ready or not. It's just all when God's ready for you to come home. But I'm just thinking about what it will be, you know, and then another thing, right? We look at fighters when they're young and they in their prime and they doing their thing. We don't know how good he would have been maybe coming into the 90s. Because some guys, a lot of guys from the 80s, they were still hanging in the 90s. And then when the 90s come, there's always a new breed. Because when we saw Sugar Ray was a nasty dude. And then at some point, Sugar trying to hang in the 90s, we seen how that went, Free. We seen how it went for Sugar in the 90s. It wasn't it
Yeah,
wasn't great.
that was because Sugar took a lot of layoffs. He had breaks in between his fights. He had a 2 year break, then he fought, then he had a 3 year break, then he fought, then he had another break, then he fought. So he had a lot of break. If he would have
Yeah.
stayed active
Yeah.
throughout his career, he
Yeah.
probably he probably would have did all right in the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah, Jim. Well, I heard Roy Jones say that plenty of times about Salvador Sanchez. Roy always said that was his favorite. I heard him mention. That's why I always wanted to learn about Salvador because I kept hearing Roy's my favorite fighter, and when I gotta keep hearing one of my favorite fighters mention that another fighter is his favorite fighter, I'm like, yeah, I need to go ahead
You
and
know,
go do my research on who this dude is.
and you know what though, and one thing too, he fought a young Azuma Nelson that Azuma Nelson went on to have a standing career too.
Zuma Nelson was, oh Lord, don't even make me
Yeah,
start. Don't make me start with him. Jesus
he
Christ.
fought him.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna get to him at some point too. Be on the lookout for him. I'm definitely coming from him. I'm gonna get real deep in this old school because I know there's fighters that y'all probably can break down and tell me about more than I can. I mean, I could read up on them, but I always like to hear stories. Underrated. Matter of fact, underrated. Let me get to you for a second.
Mhm.
Do you remember where you was when you first seen Salvador fight? I didn't hear you. What you said? I gotta wait for him to come back.
First
Something
scene
happened.
at my aunt in East New York on the
East New York.
in East New York. I was East New York. That's my first scene.
What did you What did you think of him though? In your opinion, forget what everybody else thought about him. What did you think about him?
When I first seen him at my fight, like I say Mexican. I see he moving. Wow, he go to the body well. Mm,
Mm,
I like him. Yeah, I like it. Wow, because I met my late father, my late uncle watching the fight. So the kids went outside, played in front of the buildings. But I was just like, he was like, went outside and I went back upstairs. Like, can I watch the fight and everything? At that time, you carry me around grown people business at that time, drinking beer and all like that. So I was like,
Black Star Sports, what's up?
but Star, salute to you, brother. And so I went to watch. I'm like, wow. They said you must have liked him. I said, yeah, I like him. Yeah. Then I start, really watching him. Then I start really start being intrigued. I'm like, wow. Then I start like, read about him. I said, read about him. I said, no Sanchez. So that really got me going. Yeah, I was the first seeing him in East New York, Brooklyn, and East New York session of East New York.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I had my YouTube on my phone. Go ahead, Andy.
So yeah, that's when I first watched him. When I was at my late aunt and uncle's house in East New York at the time.
Yo, you know what's so crazy, y'all? Not that I'm gonna stay on boxing. You know what's so crazy? Because whenever I see a fighter that didn't look like us, I was like, yo, they Mexican, right? I used to see Roberto Duran and swore up and down he was Mexican. I swore up and down he was Mexican, yo.
Who?
Yo, I used to see Roberto Duran and I used to be like, yo, that's one crazy Mexican. And then somebody corrected me. They was like, he's not Mexican, bro.
He
I'm
not
like,
he's not Mexican, but he got accepted by the Mexicans.
yeah,
It's almost similar to David Benavidez. David Benavidez, he's not Mexican, but he's accepted by the Mexicans. So that's why a lot of people say he's a Mexican fighter because some people name Roberto Duran as one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time because he was accepted by the Mexicans.
And,
yeah.
and you know what? Let me read this off. He went 4-0 by knockout fellow members of International Boxing Hall of Fame Danny Lopez twice, 13 KO.
Wow.
Alfredo Gomez, KO 8 rounds. Azuma Nelson, KO 15, and he defeat four future former world champions. Also went on the bid, also go on bid on Hall of Famers in those times. He was 4-0 all knockout. Future champions, also future Hall of Famers.
That's
Of that
crazy.
short time, of that short time in his career. And each of them went on to have outstanding careers and outstanding careers.
Yeah, yeah. I used to just always think that that was the funny part of me, just how I thought of him. I was like, yo, man, dude's Mexican. And somebody's like, no, he's not. I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
Sorry
I
for
said,
the
if you
thing.
look at Salvador's career, majority of his knockouts came before 6 rounds. Majority of his knockouts came before 6 rounds. There's a few of them that came in the later rounds, but majority of them came before 6 rounds. He was just stopping people.
Some people will say, but this is where the people that don't know boxing will come in and say this, right? Here we go. For him to be doing that, what kind of opponents were he fighting? Because people feel like if you just getting guys out of there that quick, they're trash. That's the whole thing that people will say. Which, if you're good, you're good. Sometimes you can get a tough fight, but then you can just make it easy. I think a lot of Roy Jones, when I see a lot of his opponents, I wouldn't say that a lot of them were easy. I just say Roy made it look easy. Some people would say he didn't never fight anybody. And I go, well, you ain't never fought the guys he fought. So who the hell are you to judge? You ain't never boxed. But,
Well,
it is what it is.
what a lot of people got to remember too, at the time frame that Salvador Sanchez was fighting, they was fighting 15 rounds. They hadn't gone down to 12 rounds. They was fighting 15 rounds. So a lot of those guys was conditioned to go 15 rounds.
Yeah.
They was conditioned to go 15 rounds because they was still fighting 15 rounds at that time. Matter of fact, he had a fight. His last fight that actually went 15 rounds was his last three fights. They He had his last three fights went 15 rounds, and he had like one, two, three, 6 fights that actually went 15 rounds. He had one fight that he stopped somebody in the 14th round, and then everybody else was getting stopped before then, or there was a 10-round fight. So
Mm.
he was fighting at a time frame where they still had 15 rounds. So when you say what kind of fighters was he fighting, he was fighting more conditional fighters than they are today. Because these guys ain't conditioned to go 15 rounds. Some people
They
say they
bet.
can go. Some people say they can go 15 rounds, but you see the end of this fight. These guys be looking half dead at the end of 12 rounds.
That be cap. Because by the seventh or eighth round, I'm seeing them try to catch their breath.
Yeah, they be looking half dead by the end of the 12th round.
Yeah.
So,
Situation.
but yeah, I mean, you got to remember, like when you say who were these guys fighting, most people look at the names that they used to hearing.
Yeah.
You're not used to watching feather and bantamweight, so you can't say what type of fighters those guys was anyway, because you're not used
No.
to watching those type of guys.
Yeah. But people want to assume.
Yeah.
That's the
You
problem we
used to
got
watching.
today.
Most people are used to watching 135-pound fight and up. That's what
Yeah.
most people are conditional watching. Now you have uh, a minority group of boxing fans that will watch the smaller weight, but majority of the boxing fans and the diehard boxing fans, majority of them are conditioned to watch 135 pounds and up. Those are the weight classes that they really pay attention to. But the
Yeah.
smaller weights, they have some good fighters down there. You just not used to watching those guys.
Yeah. You're not. So for some people, but but you got to remember who we talking to. A bunch of people that don't know shit. That's
Right.
just the
Because
same.
most people, I hear people all the time. If you telling me about a guy that weighs 112 pounds, man, that ain't no real fighter. How you gonna say
That's
that's not a real
crazy.
fighter?
How's that?
Right.
Wait a minute. That's crazy. So they only a real fighter if they up in weight, if they're 35, if they
No, I
47,
tell
if
them all the
they
time.
52.
I bet you if you get in a ring with that 112-pound fighter, I bet you he'll whoop your ass.
I
I
bet
bet you
you,
he'll whoop your ass.
I bet you he beat you to sleep.
And also too, we got to go along what y'all was saying. Throughout the years, the more excited fighters that was happening was in the lower weight class too. Those was exciting. The flyweight, featherweight, those are most exciting fighters.
It's just like I said. I don't when I hear people say, uh, well, who do they really fight? First thing I ask is who fights in the weight class that you want to see him fight. If you don't know nobody in the weight class, you can't say who he fought because you don't know nobody.
No, you don't.
If you can't give me 5 or 6 people that you want to see him fight in his weight class, you can't ask me who he fought because you don't know nobody in that weight class.
No.
So I mean
No,
that's how
you
I
can't.
answer it every time.
But people,
Give me
but
five
people,
people. Give me 5 people in his weight class. That's how you shut down the whole conversation. Give me 5 people in his weight class that you want to see him fight. If you can't give me 5 people in that weight class, then you can't ask me who he fought because you don't know
no,
nobody in that
no,
weight class.
no, no. But then people go, I mean, I got a right to voice my opinion. You don't have your right to voice no opinion on no shit you don't know that you're talking about. That's the problem. We got too many of these dudes that just be running their mouth and don't know shit. And they don't come up here asking questions like I am. If they were at least coming and asking like I am, rather if you think that they should know about him or not, at least coming and asking makes it better. Why do we always have to all act like we know every fucking thing?
I can tell you right
Let them
now.
know.
I can tell you right now. Majority of the people that be on these YouTube channels that talk boxing, that not the content creators. I'm talking about the people that's in the chat, the casuals that come through and claim they're diehard boxer fans. I guarantee you, majority of them didn't know that Tito's father fought.
I didn't either. I'm
Because
gonna be.
because because, because they
I'm
don't
gonna let
want to
you.
because they don't want to read.
I'm gonna let
They
you
don't
know.
want to
Right,
see
I'm
it.
gonna let you know right now. If I sat there and told you that I knew it, I would be lying to you, and I'm not gonna go out my way to lie. That's why when you said it, I said, "Oh shit."
This is just as we wrote. That's what I just wrote up. Oh, I said a young Azuma Nelson fought the late great Salvador Sanchez. Huh? Yeah, knocked him out.
Hey, Jay Will, my man just hit me with some shit I didn't know. And it's okay. And people go, you're in boxing. How you? There's a lot of shit that's in boxing that boxing is so much of a big community, and there's so many stories, and there's so many fighters that were world champions from 40 years ago that today they're either not here anymore, or they're incarcerated, or they homeless that you didn't even know that they exist. This is why I
Yeah.
be telling people we got enough room to learn a lot of shit about boxing. We learn something new every day in life and in the sport of boxing. So when these people think that they know everything and you can't tell them nothing, How can the guy that's 105 pounds or 112 pounds not be a real fighter?
No, like I
What?
said, everybody's a real fighter when they get in that ring and they fight professionally. They're a real fighter. Whether you respect the weight or not, they're a real fighter.
See, do they? So you telling me a kid that's 85 pounds, that's an amateur, he's not a real fighter. Or number one, that's the amateur, so that don't count. And two, he's 85 pounds. That 85-year-old pound kid will whoop your ass.
No, and the reason why I say that they are real fighters, whether you respect the weight or not, because that's a weight class. That means there's other guys in that same weight class that fight. So
Yeah.
just because you don't respect the weight because the guy is so small, everybody's not is not put on this earth to be big individuals. Some guys are put on this earth to be small. Some guys are put on this earth to be average. Some guys are put on this earth to be huge. I mean, you wouldn't expect Sebastian Friedor to be fighting at 154 pounds at 6'6", but he does.
But I guess he's not a real. I guess he's not a real fighter, not because of his weight. It's because he's too tall for the weight class. Like, what are we talking about?
You got Rafael Espinoza, 6'1", fighting at 126 pounds.
But he's not a real fighter because he's too tall for that weight class. You got to remember that. Don't upset the fans.
Some guys are just not made to be real big guys. Like, you can't tell me that Mr. Gary Russell is not a real fighter. This man fought at 126 pounds his entire career.
Oh.
This man is no taller than 5'4".
Oh, don't forget, Wilder wasn't a real fighter neither because he had basketball legs. You got to remember that now.
This nigga, man, Mr. Gary Russell is no taller than 5'4". This man is 37 years old. He's not meant to be a big dude. He's meant to be a small dude.
I'm just running through everybody. I'm running through every reason why a fighter shouldn't be a fighter. Butterbean had no business being a fighter. He should have been working in Burger King. Like, what are we talking about? Butterbean ain't a real fighter.
I mean, if that's the case, Tyson Fury is not a real fighter. That nigga, he's supposed to be playing basketball.
Like, what are we talking about?
Offensive lineman or something.
He's wild animal eater. He was supposed to be a boxer.
Right. That Tyson Fury was supposed to be an offensive lineman. The nigga 6'9", 300 pounds. He was supposed to be an offensive lineman. He wasn't supposed to be no fighter. He's not a real fighter. He's an offensive lineman.
Terrence Crawford shouldn't have been a fighter. He should have been a wrestler, you know what I mean, or some shit. Like, what are we talking about?
No, like I said, some of these guys have no merit to stand on. They have no merit at all.
He said no merit.
Because they say stuff because they have no argument. They really don't have no argument. So the only thing they can say, well, man, that's not no real fighter. They only fighting at 112 pounds. Well, can you beat that 112 pound fighter?
Can they beat him at 100?
If you can't beat that 112 pound fighter, that means you're not a fighter.
You said 112. Can they beat him at 1? Can they beat him at 105, 106? Can you beat him there? I bet you can't beat him there.
Bro, that means they are real fighters. You're not a real fighter because you can't beat them. They
just
are real fighters.
Hey, just because you won 20 fights in the street, that ain't got nothing to do with the ring.
We talking about boxing. What they think. We ain't talking about street fighting.
We talking about street
fighting. That's a whole different thing. But we talking about boxing. If you can't beat that man in a boxing ring, he's a real fighter. You're not.
That's the problem. A lot of them try to take that street mentality and half of them wouldn't even win against a boxer in the street. Let's just be real.
No, half these dudes won't last 2 rounds. After the second round, fighting 6 minutes, them niggas will be dead tired.
They be looking like Martin after fighting Tommy. After fighting Tommy, he get the order and let me get a bucket of chicken and some fries. And man, you crazy? He's too like, what are y'all doing? Talking about? So
I give everybody a challenge. And I used to do this when I used to work out on a regular basis. I got to get back to it, but I used to do this on a regular basis. Put some gloves on, go hit a heavy bag, nonstop for 1 minute. Watch how tired your arms is.
I do it, and I'll be tired, and I haven't did it in a while. That's why when I'm in my house, I have a punching bag in my house. I'll be having to hit that because that shit gets tiring.
Non-stop for 1 minute.
Y'all watch the Carissa series?
Now imagine you have to go 3 rounds and a guy is coming at you and you got to throw punches to make sure he don't just run straight through you. You got to move around the ring. You got to deal with him laying on you, all types of stuff. Imagine doing that for 3 minutes for every round that you have to fight.
That's not when you see a lot of guys moving around the ring and they ain't got their hands up and they trying to stay away from the fighter. It's not because they trying to outclass them. A lot of times their arms are tired. They trying to give their arms some rest. You know what I'm saying? They be tired.
Like I said, I used to do it every day when I worked out on a regular basis. That shit is tiring. I used to do it every day, and my arms still be tired after doing it for 1 minute. And I used to do it every day. That shit is tiring, especially if you got on 16-ounce gloves, let alone having on a regular 10-ounce or 8-ounce glove. You got on 16-ounce glove and you do that for 1 minute straight, non-stop throwing punches at a heavy bag, something that's not hitting you back. You hitting it. That shit, you'll be tired as hell.
Yeah,
but going back to Salvador, I mean, like I said, it's the sky's the limit of what he would have been if he was allowed to live on this earth longer. The sky's the limit because the trajectory that he was on, just in seven years of fighting, he already had 46 bouts. He already had 46 bouts in 7 years.
That's a lot.
Who's to say he wouldn't have did what Cesar Chavez did?
Mm-hmm.
He could have fought 100 times.
Yeah.
And then
if you look at the time frame that Canelo Alvarez when he fought Floyd, he had 44 fights. He was 7 years into the game because Canelo started at 16. He was 7 years into the game. He had 44 fights. Salvador was 7 years into the game, had 46 fights. So people say that Canelo Alvarez was green when he fought Floyd with 44 fights, even though he was 23 years old. Sanchez was a 2-division champion.
Yeah.
7 years. He was a 2-division champion.
Yeah. An amazing 46 bouts, 7 years. Shit. Show me a guy right now that right now that got that in 7 years.
And so you think about it, if he fought like another 7 years now, because we talking about I'm talking about the old fighters, they fought like over 100. They've had over 100 something wins. Some of them had like maybe 19, 20 losses and stuff. And who knows? Salvador Sanchez probably get up there, like I said, passed away 82, maybe 87, 88, probably reach like 100, and probably had like one or two losses. Who knows? Maybe like that. And so he was fine. He kept himself busy, and so that's the one thing that impressed me about him too. He kept himself busy.
That man Sanchez was a champion at 18 years old.
Crazy.
At 18 years old, he was a champion.
Oh yes.
Just think about that for a second. At 18 years old, he was a champion. We giving Brian Norman Jr. praise for being the youngest champion right now in the sport of boxing at 22 years old. This man was 18. At 18, we were saying Xander Zayas still got a ways to go.
Hell yeah.
We say Abdullah Mason still got a ways to go. He's 21, and we see how skilled Abdullah Mason is. We say he still got a ways to go, and he's 21.
Yeah,
and also when the brothers was talking about he became champion was 18, he was still a teen. He ain't really grown to his grown man body yet.
Nah, he still had 2 more years to get his grown man body.
That's what I'm saying, right? And so understand that family. That's an accomplishment right there. I'm talking about his IQ, his maturity about the years. Like, wow, you're only 18.
Yeah.
He was still a kid at 18 years old. Like everybody, oh no, he grown. He 18 years old. No, you're not grown until you're not legally grown until you're 21.
Yeah,
At 18, they just say 18 you was grown because of the Vietnam War. They made 18 the legal adult age because
Right.
yeah,
they needed bodies for the Vietnam War. So that's why they said 18 is the legal adult age. But you're not a grown adult until you're 21. That's why you can't buy alcohol until you're 21 because your body is still developing.
And he
yeah.
became a world champion 18. A world champion, y'all, at 18 years old. A kid.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean, like even to this day, you say this man was a bantamweight and a featherweight champion.
Yeah.
Salvador Sanchez beats everybody at bantamweight and featherweight right
Well,
now to this day.
well, let's play a game of my favorite game of what if. What if
Dog,
Sin? What if he's
he
here today? What does he do, and where would he be ranked? Free.
dog, he beats everybody at bantamweight and uh 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 featherweight. There's not a single soul that I think Salvador Sanchez cannot beat at bantamweight or featherweight.
And
And
both and both
that's even with Rafael Espinoza as a featherweight champion. I think he stops Rafael Espinoza.
and also he be undisputed of both weight classes. Lineage. Without a doubt.
Would you see him going up to 35?
There's a possibility. There's a possibility he would have went to 35 because you got to remember there was no 30. There was no 30. It was bantamweight, featherweight, 135,
So
147 at that time. There was
At
so
no
that time.
30. There was no 40. They
No.
went from 35 to 47.
Right.
So there's a possibility.
so what do you see? How do you see a fight with him and Tank playing out?
Not good for Tank.
That's a bomb burner.
He said a bomb burner.
That's a bomb burner, dog.
Damn.
I don't know if Tank will be able to deal with Sanchez.
No, I'll tell you right now, he wouldn't. No, no.
Like Sanchez is one of those. Sanchez is a combination of William Zepeda and Tank Davis.
Damn.
That's what he is. He's a combination of both. He has the
Damn.
boxing ability like a Tank Davis, but he has the nonstop action like William Zepeda. He's going to
So,
press you the
so
entire fight,
do you think
but he's
his
going to
style
outbox you while he's pressing you.
do you think his style would overwhelm Tank?
Yeah, I think it would give Tank a lot of problems. The only thing that I say Tank does have a good ring IQ, and Tank has that equalizer. He hits you, he can hurt you. But if Sanchez doesn't allow Tank to be able to hit him, Tank gonna be in for some problems. We saw what happened when he fought Lamont Roach.
Yeah, that was nasty.
He's gonna be in for some problems.
But
But
I,
you
but,
Like
but I,
I don't think there's anybody at 35 that I say beat Salvador Sanchez.
no,
Outside
and
of maybe they land a good punch and knock him out. Like the only fight that he lost was a decision.
yeah.
he never got knocked out. He never
Mm.
got knocked out. But I say that if fight against Tank, I think he would stop Tank in the later round. I think he would figure them out, and I think he would knock Tank out
Yeah, I
in the
mean
later rounds.
it'll be a bomb burner because like I said, Tank does have that power. He does have ring IQ, but so do Salvador Sanchez.
It sounds like to me that a lot of these guys that walk around they call themselves the boogeyman of the division. You can't be the boogeyman if everybody's calling you out. Um, I think Salvador would have been in that position where it wouldn't have been probably too many people calling him out.
Nah, not no. At 35 right now, Dog,
They staying away from him.
dog.
It was like
They
the boost in its effect.
he literally would be telling Turkey, "Hey man, pay this dude so they can fight me." Literally.
Because if you look at 26 and 30, what can somebody from 26 to 30, if you look at O'Shaquie Foster, you look at Bruce, you start going down different, and you like, I love all these guys, and you like, but damn, I just don't think y'all will be the one for him. And I like those guys. I love all of them. Let's be real about this.
You gotta think about it. First of all, they're gonna look at how many fights he got. The nigga will have like about 50, 60 fights by the time he fights one of these guys. They're gonna be like, man, this man is very experienced. And this man is powerful. And his work ethics is crazy. These dudes, they're gonna be like, man, you gotta give me $7 million guaranteed
He
plus
said 7
package.
million. God damn, free 7
No,
million.
that's I'm telling you, that's how these niggas gonna be talking. They're gonna want to get paid because they know there's a high probability that they're not winning this fight.
And the ass whipping,
We see that we see the
it.
stuff go on with Tank Davis, and Tank
Yeah,
Davis doesn't have the punch output of a Salvador Sanchez. They already asked for Tank Davis to give them $8 million the fight plus back end. So if Tank having that problem, you talking about a guy like Salvador Sanchez who has the ring IQ, who's not scared to fight nobody, and he has the pressure like a Williams or Pater. No, they're gonna be
yeah,
asking for boatloads of money to get in the ring with him, or they're gonna act like he's not in the division. He gonna be the only undisputed champion that ain't nobody gunning for.
yeah. Um, Damn. Now that I'm thinking about it, man, this is why I say y'all got to be crazy to not want to be involved in these type of conversations where you could take something from the past and bring it in the future. This is crazy. You see fights like this only in video games. I wish we could see Salvador in the video game. It would be nice. But when you think about it, you like, because these dudes always be like the boogeyman, the boogeyman. I'm the boogeyman in my division. I'm the boogeyman of boxing. You're not the boogeyman if somebody's calling you out all day. But for some reason, I feel like Salvador, it would have been kind of quiet. And like you said, Free, he'd have had to go to Turkey or like, yo, man, I need you to pay this dude. I need you to, you know what I'm saying? But who's to say if Tank would have not accepted the fight, though? That's another thing. We don't know if he would accept it. That probably would have been some I'm good. Because some fights ain't worth taking though. Let's be real. Some people are just like, it's not worth it. And we've seen that. We've seen dudes be like, nah, it's not worth the risk. Or you have to pay me an X amount of dollars to take it. But I think, like you said, him here today would have been something. It definitely would have been something. Would have been something special to see what he would have been like and what he would have accomplished.
It would have been a whole bunch of conspiracy about Salvador Sanchez. They would have said he's on something. He's a
Yeah.
weight bully. It would have been a whole bunch of stuff.
Hey, I tell you what though, Free, and this is a fact, and you and Underrated know this. It's no way even if Salvador today would have been at 26, you could convince Inouye to go to 126.
There wouldn't have been no Inouye. They'd have been any way I can get away from him. That's what I'm gonna do.
He said they had to get away from him.
They said, nah. They be like this. No, they do like the rank. No mas. Mm-hmm.
He said, yo, is it any way I could get away from him? And you know what? I think Salvador would have called for that fight. If he's a 26 today, he'd have called for that. Like, yo, anyway, come on, let's do it at 20. Let's do it at
Uh,
26. And anyway would have found any other way to get around that.
that man, anyway, would have prayed for a daggone tsunami to hit Japan. You're like, man, I am not fighting this dude. We got a
No,
natural disaster over here.
we're not. I mean, it is what it is, man. You got to be
Uh,
ask
anyway,
yourself.
anyway doesn't last 5 rounds with Salvador Sanchez. He don't last 5 rounds.
If you ever notice that all the anyway fights, he gets knocked down first round, it tells you a lot about him. He managed to comes back after that, but it's always like the first round he gets clipped. And I'm like, people are not finishing their food because it's not that he's not beatable. He could be beat. People ain't finishing their food, man. I don't know what it is, but a dude like Salvador, oh man,
That's why he's taking so long to go to 26. You saw how fast he moved out of 15 and 18. He taking forever to go to 26 because that power different up there.
he said anyway would duck that whole division for real. Well, it looked like that's what he's doing now. Look like that's what he's doing now because it ain't like he got another year or two in 22. I don't know what he think he gonna do, but it'll catch. Eventually, you keep playing with your weight, right? And this is life in general. You keep playing with your weight, and it'll catch up to you. It'll catch up to you because there's gonna be that one person that you think that's not gonna be able to clip him and knock him out, and you're gonna be like, see. So he'll get exactly what he's looking for if he's not careful. But yeah, Salvador was I'm gonna probably go glance at some of his fights too, man. But it's dope to see how for that little bit amount of time he was in boxing and what he accomplished. And I don't want to sit here and say we might not never, nobody else will come and accomplish that again. It's hard to say that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to say that because special people come once every 10 years. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll definitely see. We got this week's press conference is on right now, but I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna go watch the rerun of it. Josh Taylor. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and rap about him and 40 and what's his chances at 47. And after that, I think I'll be caught up on a lot of my boxing, and then I'll probably got to go back to doing my morning chop ups, man. I want to get back to doing that. There's some things that need to be discussed. Yo, Free, what time y'all got off this morning, man? Y'all was on late, man. I couldn't say
They
it.
got I don't know what time they got off. I got off at like around 1:20. I got off because my phone had act up and I was like, I'm not going to jump back on. So I was listening, but then I fell asleep while I was listening. So I'm not sure exactly what time they got off. Probably like around 3 or 4.
God dog.
I mean that's usually what happened when Dub do those late shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays and things like that. Whenever he goes late, they usually stay on till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm gonna tell Dub the first chance I get, he out of order for that. Tell him you can't be up in no 2, 3. Tay Tay, what's up, my Long Island sister? Yo,
I
Tay,
think
when
Tay
you
Tay would have been. I think Tay Tay would have been able to beat Salvador Sanchez.
shit.
Time to get off.
Now you need to hold on now. Hold on now, Free. Hold on now. Because Tay's a little set up different. And she little. You talking about little. Think I'm a little guy. Shit. She said who? This throwback Thursday is fire though, Clarence. Thank you, Eric. Oh, come back later though. Come back later. We got the Nigerian Nightmare, Samuel Peter. We're gonna be talking about him later, 6 p.m. Come on back, man. We listen. This is all about lessons, man. This whole thing that we doing is about lessons, man. Teaching the people because there's no way we're gonna get up here and talk about the same 5 fighters, 6 fighters every day. Y'all can have that. I'm at the point I don't even give a shit about views no more. Whatever my shit look like is what it look like. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care no more. As long as my brothers are coming and rocking with me and I'm rocking with them when they go live, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's all that
heavyweight.
matters.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, he's a heavyweight. Yes,
Yeah, the heavyweight. Yep.
heavyweight. Yes.
And you know what? And I'm not gonna get into it now because I want it's for later. But I got some questions for you about him.
Man, I
And
got some answers.
later on, free. I got some. If you come around, underrated, please come back because I sent y'all a link already for that. I
Okay.
got questions and I need answers from both of you gentlemen, and I need y'all to be straight up honest with me when I ask y'all about him because I got some deep questions, man. And it's nothing against him, but I just got some valid questions, man. And I don't have no answers, so I'm hoping my brothers can help me out with the answers.
Okay.
Just like I needed some answers on Salvador. You know what I'm saying? I had questions, and I'm like, you know what? Who better to ask than my brothers? Because yo, you know what? Let me ask y'all something. Is there a fighter out there that because I when we talk old school, right? I might be overlooking or I just might not know. Is there an underrated fighter out there from back in the days that nobody ever mentions today that you never hear about that you guys might have grew up
Um,
watching?
I said the one I interviewed my second chairman,
I was
Calvin Seabrook.
I was about to say one that he he's not really underrated, but he does. A lot of people don't talk about him, and that's Ernie Shavers.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of people don't talk about Ernie Shavers. A lot of people don't talk about Bone Crusher Smith.
oh,
A lot of people don't talk about what's the other guy? It's another
Tim
guy that I was just
Witherspoon.
thinking about the
Tim
other day.
Witherspoon.
Tim
Yeah,
Witherspoon. Yeah,
Tim Witherspoon too.
yeah, Tim is my
Um,
dude.
it's another guy that I was thinking about the other day when you was talking about somebody you want to
Oh,
talk
oh
about. I
yeah,
was
the late
thinking,
great Burt Cooper too.
Yeah, Burt Cooper was for Lord.
Mark Breland. Mark Breland.
Mark Breland.
Brooklyn, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Six-time Golden Glove champion. Went on
yeah,
welterweight champion. Then he fought Sterling Shaw. Sterling, Sterling from Connecticut and stuff. We know the rest after that.
You know another one too that nobody talk about, and most people don't even pay attention to his boxing career because of his training career as a trainer. But Buddy McGirt.
No, Long Island.
buddy.
Buddy McGirt from Long Island. Yes,
Yeah, buddy was Arturo Gotti's trainer. Yeah, man, old buddy, man.
and very underrated of training too.
Yeah, buddy was buddy's still one of my favorite trainers.
And don't
Yo,
get the
man.
Oh,
credit.
you never talked about the drunken master, Emmanuel Augustus.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know what?
And
Let's
and
come back.
also
You know what? Let's come back with him next Thursday.
and
Emmanuel
also
Augustus. We'll come back with him next Thursday.
and Floyd Mayweather was saying that was the hardest fight that he fought against.
Yeah, let's come back with him next week then. That's cool. We can talk about Emmanuel Augustus. Let's do that.
And maybe you can have Ivan come on because Ivan worked out with Emmanuel Augustus. I don't know if he fought Emmanuel Augustus. I think he did, but I know he definitely trained with Emmanuel Augustus with at Sweet Peas camp.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Ivan about that. I'm gonna call him. I'm sure he's in the gym right now. I'm gonna call him and talk to him about that because that's a great idea. Yeah, we never did talk about Emmanuel Augustus. I know I might talk about Tim Witherspoon next week too. I might come back tomorrow after. I might come back next week afternoon and do that. Educate the people. You know what I mean? Because this shit that y'all got going on, I'm not with it.
And
This,
another fighter that passed not too long ago, the late great Livingston Bramble. A lot of people don't talk about him, but he was a good fighter too. We don't talk about it. He was a champion too.
yeah,
Uh, have you did a joint on Terry? I mean, terrible Terry North.
Yeah, I did one on. I
Yeah.
did. I think I did the one with
Okay,
him
so you
versus
did it
Cigarette.
on
I
Terry
did.
North,
Yeah, I did one
but
with
you
him
did
versus Cigarette.
yeah you did it on Terry North. I knew it was one of them you did it on, but you didn't do it on Michael Nunn.
No, I didn't do Michael Nunn, who's actually he's entering the Hall of Fame this year. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if it's the main Hall of Fame or if it's the Atlantic City Hall of Fame. It's one of them that he's entering in. I tell you what, I'll come back and do him too. We'll come back and get him next week. We'll come back and get him. We can do that, Michael Nunn. Uh, and I don't get it. This is where people should be. People should. You would think, gentlemen, that more people want to be involved in these conversations
Mhm.
because
Eric
it's
O.
history,
Eric O. Like Razor Ruddock.
huh?
I said Eric O. Like Donovan Razor Ruddock.
Oh damn it! I forgot about old Razor Ruddock.
Yeah.
He had him some fights too. Now he didn't had him some fights. We ain't gonna act
Yeah,
like
he
he
did.
wasn't in there fighting.
Yeah, he has some battles.
Your man almost went to bed against Lennox, and Tyson damn near just sent his head like 4 rows back. I mean, Jesus Christ. He been in some battles. I can't even hold
Yeah,
homie.
yeah.
He been in some
Tyson fought
battles.
him twice. Tyson fought him twice.
That first time they fought, when that I think it was the first time when that brawl broke out. I was like, what the hell going on here, man? I
All I
was like, what
remember is
happened?
one of Tyson bodyguard was hitting somebody with the radio. That's all I remember from that brawl.
Hey yo, we always brought crazy weapons to the ring. I don't know what it be about us, man. We always hit like Riddick Bowe, man, with the damn walkie-talkie, man. That was his choice of weapon. Every time there was a situation, he was going upside your head with that damn walkie-talkie, and that shit got him in trouble too. He said he was going for I think he was going for a job with NYPD, and he couldn't get the job with the NYPD because of that video, and he did it twice. For what we know, he said, "Yo, I was getting ready to get a job with them, and then I couldn't get one." That meant, yeah, man, he was busting them all in their head with them walkies, man. He lost all of the big fights, though. But nah, yeah, but he still had a lot of big fights, though. He got some bodies on his resume, man. Win or lose. Razor Ruddock. I mean, we got so many people here. We could sit here all damn year and sit here and talk about people, and you guys ain't gonna want to hear it. And it's okay, you don't have to, because we're gonna entertain the people who do want to hear it. So I'm gonna set those lives up. Actually, I'm gonna set them up now, not now, but when I get off here, so they could be on. So you said we're gonna come back to talk about the Drunken Master next week, Free?
Say that again.
You said we'll come back to talk about the Drunken Master next week?
Yeah, we can.
And okay, so we'll do that. And who should we come back in the afternoon with? Y'all want to do Tim Witherspoon or Razor Ruddock?
Did
It
Tim
don't matter.
Witherspoon.
Whichever one you want. Yeah, whichever one you want to
Because I
do.
never did, I never did anything on Tim Witherspoon. I never did anything. I never did nothing on Razor Ruddock either, but I'll make room for him. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll come back with Tim Witherspoon. Yeah, we'll do all that. We're gonna make it interesting. Let me get up off here. I'm not trying to do 2 hours a day. I can't. I gotta go to the gym to get up with the fighters. I got a fighter I gotta get up with today to do some media workout with him. So that's a good fighter to discuss. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna come back next week. Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all time. Thank you as always. Free. Yeah, I know y'all on every day, so that's 8 p.m. tonight, right?
Yeah, 8:05.
Everybody go over to BBO Boxing. Go subscribe if you haven't. 8:05. Go subscribe to my brother Underrated Darkness. Y'all stop playing, stop acting like you scared to subscribe, man. We don't bite. We just talk real boxing. Go over there, subscribe. 8:05 to my brother tonight. Underrated. Whenever he goes live, go over there. Me, you know me. 8 o'clock every morning. It was 7:30, but I had to change it because I have to take my wife to work. So 8 o'clock every morning. Of course, I'll be back later on today, 6 p.m. We'll be talking about Samuel Peters, the Nigerian Nightmare. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Y'all know what it is. It's the No Doug Zone podcast. Let's go.
Peace.
Peace.